Okay, this is a revamp video for the numbers. A revamp. Because the previous video I made about numbers on over this had an error in it, and I just couldn't live with myself if I had it up there. So I apologize, YouTube. I apologize in advance because it was a pretty savage error. Anyway, numbers. I'm gonna be talking to you about the two types of number systems that you probably already know. What else? What else? Okay, anyway, let's move on, right? So this is numbers beyond 10, beyond 15, I guess, because numbers 0 to 15, I'm sorry, 0 to 15 you should already know. And I'm just gonna go over some of the basic number system stuff that we have here, right? As you know that there are two types of number systems, the indigenous and the Hispanic. For number 16, right, if we want to continue with the indigenous, which, by the way, numbers 11 and above normally get the Hispanic pronunciation, or the Hispanic usage, I should say, over the indigenous one, and you'll see why there's a tendency and a preference to use the Hispanic ones, and I'll leave that to your judgment. But that doesn't mean that the indigenous set is non-existent. If you do want to impress people by using the indigenous set, and you want to school Cebuano speakers because they don't know the indigenous set, and you want to prove to them that you know and you're better than them because they don't know it, then by all means go ahead and do it, and I will teach you how. 16 we have on the indigenous set is Napulo ug unom. I underlined ug because you need to have that conjunction meaning and. Napulo ug unom, which means, you already know what it means, right? I don't need to explain that. And then the Hispanic set is 16, okay? 16. 17 follows the same pattern. If you want to use the indigenous set, you have to have Napulo, ug, and then whatever 7 is. The same with 18, 19, and so forth. Until we get to 20, which is different. The Hispanic set for 17 follows as 17, 18, 19 for 17, 18, and 19. 20 is weird. 20 for the indigenous set, we get kaluhaan, right? Kaluhaan. And the Hispanic set is 20, okay, 20. For the indigenous set of numbers, right? The indigenous set, I want to talk about this underlined lu, okay? Now, in the standard Cebuano dialect, it is known to be as kaluhaan, right? But most Cebuano dialects, because Cebuano likes to shorten and, just shorten the words and just slur everything together, people will have a tendency to pronounce it as kauhaan, okay? My YouTube channel focuses on the standard Cebuano dialect. I will not teach I will not shed light on the other dialects, but I will talk about dialectal differences, just in case you do run into those, okay? But standard Cebuano dialects kaluhaan, okay, for 20. 30, it follows again the Hispanic set. But for the indigenous set, tulo, you see this whole this whole fusion of something, right? You have the circumfix, like with 20, ka, something, something, an. 30 gets ka, something, something, an, but it's katloan, okay? Katlo, from tulo, okay? Tulo, we deleted the vowel, tu, and we have lo. We have tu, o, okay? We have the t and lo. So instead of saying tulo, the root word now is that T without the U and L-O. It's two consonants and an O, circumfixed with ka, something, something, an. So katloan, okay? Katloan. You can almost hear it. It's katuloan, but no, we don't want too many syllables, so we just chop that one, delete it. We in the process of the morphological process of deletion, and we get katloan, okay? 40, 40, but again, like with katloan, we have upat, right? Upat would be the root word here. But when we conjugate it with the circumfix, right, we don't want too many syllables, so we have kapatan, okay? And that hyphen, remember the hyphen gives that internal pause, so kapatan, okay? Kapatan. So upat is the root word, but when we conjugate it, we get kapatan, right? Kapatan. 50 is 50. For the Hispanic, Kalim-an. Again, without this, it's kalimaan. Just like with this one, with 40, kaupatan, right? Kaupatan, we get kapatan, right? Kapatan. Instead of saying kaupatan, we use the morphological process of deletion for that extra vowel, and now we have kapatan instead of kaupatan. 50, kalim-an. Instead of kalimaan, kalim-an, okay? 60 is for the indigenous set, kaunoman. Okay, no deletions whatsoever. Kaunoman. The thing with these is if you want to say words like 21, 31, 40, whatever, right? The numbers in between these 10, the increments of tens, you have to have the, for example, kaluhaan, the number itself, and then you need to link it with the ug, again, and, okay? That's our linker with the and, because you're adding. You're going to say 20 plus however many numbers. If I want to say, for example, 26, like 16, it's going to be kaluhaan ug unom, right? For 26, kaluhaan ug unom. 20 plus 6, you add. It's kind of like what they do with the French language when they count. They multiply and add and all that crap, right? So same with Cebuano. We multiply when we want to, not multiply, we add when we want to get the digits. Something, something, and something, something, right? Kaunoman ug unom, 66, okay? However, the Hispanic set has a little bit of an awkwardness to it, but it makes sense if you look at the history, right? 60 is 60, right? There is a tendency that you probably want to say 60 for seis, but no, it's 60. That's why I underlined the se, okay? 60. This has something to do with the Spanish language and its origins in Latin, okay? Because the Latin language never wanted to have those, vowels to be diphthongs as they evolved and merged in Spanish. So this is just something historical with the Latin language, okay? And when we borrowed it from Spanish, it just came to be the same way, 60. The same thing with 70, 70, not siete, okay? It's 70. It's not 70, okay? 70. No need to add an extra vowel. That's something I just want to point out, and it's all because of like historical reasons with the Latin language when Spanish evolved from Latin. And then the indigenous set, we have kapitoan, right? Pito, again, pito. And then the same thing with 80, walo, the circumfix an, right? And same thing with 90 for the indigenous set. 90 though for the Hispanic set is 90. It's not nueve-enta, right? It's not, you're not gonna put in the extra vowel. Again, it's 90, not nueve, okay? Nueve-enta, no. It's 90 with the nta endings, okay? And then we finally get to 100, which is 100, ciento, or usakagatos, depending on the context or the case that we're talking about, right? 100, ciento, or usakagatos is the indigenous set. Moving on here to this part, we have on the hundred side, right? If we are going to be using the indigenous set, you need to use ka in this case. It's no more ug, it's ka now. Because again, it makes sense. How many of something are we counting? And it's a measure word now. Are we counting something? We're measuring how many of a specific kind of thing are there. Well, for 200, there's 2 hundreds, right? Two things of hundreds, right? So duha ka gatos. This is just one thing of 100, so we just say usa ka gatos, but now we have 2 things of 100, duha ka gatos, right? And it continues on until you reach to the 1,000, okay, which will go on later. And that's for the indigenous set. Again, for the indigenous set, you need to have the ka when you're getting to the hundreds, because gatos is now considered an object or a noun, okay? And that's why you need to use this marker, the counting, the measure word marker, ka. However, for the Hispanic set, we have 200, okay, 200, 200s, okay, cientos, right? It's plural now, so cientos. And this is just something that came in from Spanish, 200s, 200. Same thing with 400, right? Again, it's the same in the indigenous set and same with the Hispanic, 400s. However, that's the same with all of the hundreds in their forms. However, 500 is different, okay? Even though the indigenous set stays the same with the pattern of ka, The Hispanic set is the irregular one now, and this is the really weird one that you need to memorize by heart. It's a lot of people would like to say 500. No, it's 500, okay? 500, not 500. This is the really weird one, and there's just, again, it had something to do with Spanish evolving from Latin. So when Latin was becoming or diverging away from as a different dialect away from other Romance languages, or when the dialect of Spanish was starting to differentiate, this happened, okay? It didn't go from 500, but it went something to 500, okay? That's just something, again, you have to memorize on your own, right? Because I'm not sure if the other Romance languages have it. I know Spanish, it's 500, not 500, all right? But everything else is the same. Dos, cuatro, cinco, dos, cuatro, and not cinco, but seis, siete, all that stuff is the same. It's only the 500. Just keep that in mind, okay? 1,000 for the Hispanic set is mil, okay? Mil. And the indigenous set is usaka libo. Again, because now libo is like the 100, it's considered an object or a noun. So then we use usaka libo, 1,000. 5,000 is just an example. I wanted to put 5,000, 5,000, right? 5,000. And then we get to 1 million, usaka milyon, which is, the million is going to be the same in both the Hispanic and indigenous set. So we take in the Spanish word and we add in the indigenous portion, which is counting it as an object or a noun. Usa camillon, okay? We take that Spanish loan word and put it with the indigenous noun case marker, whatever, thingamajigger. And for 10,000, just for your FYI, is napulo kalibo, right? Which makes sense because napulo is 10, kalibo, again, 10 of the thousands, right? We have 10 of the thousands, or 10 thousands together, we have 10,000, okay? 100,000 is, or actually, yeah, I forgot. It's 10,000 in the Hispanic set, 10,000, okay? 10,000, 10 million, which is kind of weird. I mean, I'm sorry, 10,000. Yeah, I'm losing it right now. 10,000 is 10,000, napulo kalibo, 10,000. And 100,000, right, is usaka gatos kalibo, okay? Usaka gatos kalibo. And notice how like the linkers are, the measure words are there too, right? Usa, one of 100 of 1,000, okay? So we have we have 1,000 and 100, okay? It's just weird that way, but it works if you look at it. And for the Hispanic set, it's called 100,000, right? Do not say 100,000 or 100,000. It's 100,000. It's just plain and simple 100,000 without the ciento or without the cientos. It's just 100, okay? And that's why I wrote it in green, because it's one of those really irregular ones. And the last two irregular ones that we'll take a look here is 700 and 900. 700 is 700, okay? 700. Again, it's not like here in 60 where it's se, because 600 would be 600, okay? 600. But 700 keeps that same single vowel, sete, not siete, it's 700. And 900 again takes that same single vowel. It didn't get mutated to the O to UE. So it's an O, it's just one O, right? One vowel, not two. 900. 90, 900, okay? So that's why all of this is in green, because they had some irregularity with it and something I had to talk about. And now let's practice saying some of these numbers, right? This first one, we read it from left to right and we use the years, right? Let's talk about the years. So 1521, right? We'll start with the first digit, mil. 500, remember that 500 is not 500, 1521, okay? 1521. The second one is our year right now that this video is being made. So 2000, right? Because 2000, 2019. 2019, okay? And then this one, 110. Let's actually count this one in the indigenous set. So we have usa ka gatos ug napulo. Okay? Usa ka gatos ug napulo. Remember, we add, right? It's Cebuano is one of those languages that you add and do the math to get the number, right? Just like French, I know French does it with their number systems. They multiply and they add and all that stuff to get certain numbers. So Cebuano does the same thing. You add, you get 100 plus 10, right? That's we get 110 is 100 plus 10. Usa ka gatos ug napulo, okay? 2 million. Again, think of the nouns, okay? Because a million is a noun. So, duha ka milyon. Okay, duha ka milyon. That's 2 million. Duha ka milyon. And actually, I think actually it's millones. Millones, but I could be wrong, okay? So those of you can correct me if I'm wrong on this. It could be millones because now it's plural, but I don't know. Duha ka millones, duha ka milyon. I think they both can exist. I'll have to check with the dictionary. But that's one of the things that's kind of like gray area that when the Spanish borrowing came in. The next one's 526 is 500 quinientos, okay, 26. 526. Next one, 1977. 1977. Remember that 70, it's not siete, right? 1977. And then 1643. 1643. Okay? 1643. Okay? So hopefully that can demystify some of these things that I said.